Thanks for attending, everybody. This presentation is going to be an introduction to our RISE Command Core series. The Command Core will be applicable to our 4220 HD series dome, a 4260 HD positioner, and an upcoming 4290 dual-headed positioner. Now, what is Command Core? Command Core is a CohuHD RISE platform software technology that we have developed to accomplish a certain number of objectives. One is inheritance. The inheritance is that all of the current RISE capabilities are inherited into the Command Core software platform. In addition, we wanted to design in complete simplicity, and the simplicity is designed in relative to improved user configuration and operation interface capability. Then we wanted to add automation. The camera system is now capable of being operating in a fully automated mode, and I'll go through that, which we call the action engine capabilities. We've added in flexibility, in particular with the OSD capability that's designed explicitly for traffic applications. Universal capability for web browser agnostics and any kind of integration relative to hybrid analog to IP systems and integration protocols. And then lastly, intelligence. We've added some image processing, and we'll be adding some traffic analytics support into the Command Core technology. So what I mean by simplicity is from the perspective of the user, where we actually went out and hired a software developer that is an expert in human interface and ergonomics. He completely has redesigned the layout of the Command Core interface for the intuitive layout using different colors and appropriate controls and where items are positioned. In addition, he added some what we call configuration wizards. So some of the complex capabilities that Command Core offers, we've provided configuration wizards for simplifying the programming of those capabilities. All along the way, we will provide user prompts to keep the operator or configurator, person doing the configuration, aware of what's going on in the system. And then with advanced setup of FTP systems or sites, there is a setup diagnostic capability so that when you are trying to test if the camera is making a connection to an FTP server, it gives you real-time information on what's going on. From a simplicity standpoint, we provide in-video pan tilt zoom control so that you don't need to have a separate panel to do that function. That is available only on Internet Explorer. We as well have an advanced pan tilt control panel capability, and there's a built-in integrated help system to answer any questions you may have in a real-time basis. So the RISE Action Engine. This is the ability for the camera to perform fully automated camera site responses. What triggers the responses are some input sources. We have a variety of input stimulus that can cause the camera to do specific programmed output functions. We allow multiple actions for each of the input triggers. There's a programmable action list that you can perform. And all of this is done through a configuration wizard that will simplify the complicated task of doing some of these advanced functions of the action engine. As well, there are queuing modes in the event that you have multiple inputs that are simultaneously received. You can prioritize in a one of three fashions of how you want the camera system to handle those input signals. Some of the input sources that can trigger the automation are sensor contact inputs. The Rise camera systems have 4 digital I/Os that you can configure either as inputs, outputs, or a combination of those. There's a built-in software periodic timer that you can set for a few seconds, a few minutes, and each time the timer goes off, that triggers an event that the camera will do something. There's a calendar schedule that you can have the camera do some action based on a time and date scenario. When the camera reaches a preset, you can have an action triggered based on the preset being reached. If the camera's ever moved, you can trigger the camera to do something. Perhaps you want to send a notice to somebody that the camera has been moved off position. If there's a maintenance event that the camera identifies, you can cause the camera to report that. Any video analytic event will trigger the camera into action, as well as you can program some specific user commands to do an automated function based on the user command. Now, what are the actions that the camera can perform? We have, again, the digital output as part of the digital I/O. If you program some of those I/Os to be outputs, then an input source can trigger that output to change state. That could turn a light on, a bell on, trigger some system to do some other set of actions. I could create and upload an image that the camera captures and send it off to an FTP site. I could send an email notification of what's occurred and as well include a snapshot. I can activate a preset or a tour to occur, and I can also display an alarm OSD text so that you can notify the operator looking at the video of what's happened. Here's just a couple of examples of the Rise Action Engine in action. Example 1 would be a typical traffic security scenario where we would use one of the digital inputs to monitor the door of one of the 334 cabinets that has a large portion of electronics contained in it. And if someone opens the door, that would cause the camera to respond in an automated fashion. First thing you might have the camera do is go to the preset that would guide the camera to the actual 334 cabinet so that an operator could see who is there. You could trigger an output on the camera to sound a bell just to alert whoever's there that we are aware that you're there. As well, you can capture and upload an image and send it off to a maintenance group or some operator that would be notified that someone has been in that cabinet. That's a very typical, simple action engine application for traffic. Another traffic example could be for website usage, where you use the periodic timer to trigger the event, and you, every 5 minutes, as an example, want the camera to take a snapshot and post it up to an FTP site where the camera would do all of that automatically, and then the website would post the current image every 5 minutes. From the flexibility standpoint, we've done some major changes to OSD, and it's basically optimized for ITS needs. ITS, since they put the video many times on the public airwaves through the local television stations, and over time they've had numerous different encoders or cameras throughout the life of their system that have specific types of OSD looks and feels. As they upgrade to new cameras, they desire to have all of that OSD information look very, very similar as to what the previous OSD looked like, just for consistency. So we've built in a number of things to allow the user to be able to do that with the Rise product, replacing some older technology. As well, the OSD has a configuration wizard available just to simplify the configuration of all the OSD displays. We offer up to 7 OSD elements. An element is a separate OSD function such as user text or a preset ID, the position the camera's looking at, a compass direction. You could add the date time. You can have the sector title giving an indication of the view that the camera's looking at. If a maintenance event occurs and or an action event, you can have the OSD display all that information. We've added an image banner, which is simply an area at either the top or the bottom of the screen. That's a black banner where you can insert the OSD just to make it more visible. If you wish to do that, there are a number of DOT agencies that prefer that. We've allowed the users to upload their own font library. So any TrueType font library is uploadable into the camera, so you can match exactly the font that you maybe have previously been using. The fonts that you load in have a number of properties that you can change. You can change the color of the font, the size, the background, if it's transparent, or the transparency of the OSD, as well as the location that the OSDs appear. As well, we provide the ability for a company logo to be inserted into the video. You can use a number of different file formats, bitmap, GIF, PNG is an example. And we do support the transparent layer of a logo image such that any background information would be eliminated from the logo. From the universal standpoint, Command Core is compatible with all the popular operating system and browsers. As examples for Windows operating systems that use Internet Explorer, we support that. With Internet Explorer, there is an active X control that we push out to the client station, which allows you to decode the H.264 video. As well, Firefox and Chrome is compatible, and the application for a Firefox and Chrome will detect, the camera will detect what browser is in use and then configure itself for streaming to Firefox or Chrome. Basically, it will create a JPEG image which Firefox and Chrome can render and allows you to see the video. Apple and Macintosh operating systems, which typically use Safari and or Firefox and Chrome, is supported by Command Core, as well as all of the system integration protocols such as OnDiff Profile S, NTCIP, Traffic Control Protocol, all of our legacy Cohu protocols that we've through the legacy past, as well as we implement CohuHD, UlTrack, Fast, AD, and we can add many others as the need arises. As well, we have image processing analytics in Command Core, one of which is the auto defog, which allows the camera image to compensate to provide the best image possible through either heavy fog instances or hazy days. It provides very good video through all of that atmospheric degradation. As well as we've got the ability for whiteout reduction, which is in the examples of bright car headlights at night. It reduces the effect of the bright headlight bloom without affecting the surrounding parts of the scene, as well as enhanced intensity, which will basically diminish the presence of very bright lights but bring out the surrounding background so that it's much easier to see. Wide dynamic range, we've got 3 different compensation levels built in. Something we'll be putting into the next Command Core. By the way, Command Core is a series of softwares. We're releasing Command Core 1 shortly. We will then follow up in the near future with Command Core 2 and Command Core 3 scheduled in this 2017. The next Command Core release, we will have ability for fog detection, where the camera, if it senses that fog is present in the video, will trigger an input to the RISE action engine such that you could use the action engine to notify specific people that there are certain areas of a roadway that are under fog conditions so that you can react on a real-time basis. Another item that we're installing into the next Command Core release is a GPS incident locator, where if there's an incident along the roadway, you can point the camera to the incident, and then it would calculate the GPS coordinate of where that incident was. Obviously, you would need to have a GPS coordinate of the camera location itself, but what the camera would do is estimate where the actual incident is from the camera and provide that location. Some of the integration features that we'll be adding in some future Command Core releases are all of the camera settings can be activated by a preset, which the action engine can then trigger based on, say, a time-date scenario or just time of day. You can turn certain camera property settings either on or off or a certain way based on how you want the camera to be configured automatically by time or whatever the steam conditions might be. As well, on the 4260 and the 4290 upcoming, wiper and washer control can be activated by a preset, which is a common thing that many third-party VMSs support, but they don't necessarily have a wiper or wash control. You can simply use a preset to activate some of those functions. And then we will be coming out with a camera management application, which will allow you to do bulk software updates to the RISE platforms, as well as configure a camera with certain settings. And if you want all the other cameras to have that same set of settings, you can push out the configuration, which will dramatically reduce the amount of time spent operating or configuration of the cameras. Command Core 2 and 3, we will have video analytics that are embedded into the camera. That will provide traffic data collection and flow analysis, as well as incident detection capability. All of those things can be tied into the action engine to drive the camera to notify you if there's an abnormal scenario of any of those items. And this is an example of what the traffic analytics along with Command Core could do, which is basically wrong way direction on a roadway. The camera would be monitoring, say, an off-ramp, and we set the analytics up such that there's a detection zone on the off-ramp, and we will create a action engine if there is a driver going the wrong direction. The detection zone will have a direction of flow, and we want, if the car goes through the wrong way, that will create the trigger of the action engine. So once the analytics triggers the event in the RISE action engine, then what the action engine from that point can do is set a trigger and output contact that activates a driver alert system, which could be flashing lights, a message sign, a horn, a number of things that would be driven off of the contact output coming off of the camera. In addition, at that point, the action engine would allow you to capture the event image, and so send that information through either an email or send it up to an FTP site, so there's instantaneous notification capability that you can implement. And then the next thing would be that if the car goes through and is on the wrong, going the wrong direction along a roadway, you could send a signal to a VMS system that would allow you to call up the associated cameras along the roadway, so that the operators would have a long-term view of the roadway while the car is going the wrong direction. So again, the RISE Command Core summary, we tried to build in all of these attributes, the first being inheritance. We want to continue what the current RISE capability provides, but then add in some simplicity, automation, flexibility, universality, and intelligence. So the question is, when is Command Core available? Command Core 1 we will be releasing in May 2017. Is there a fee for Command Core? There is not. What we will do is we will notify everybody when Command Core 1 is available, and you, at your discretion, can update any installed RISE cameras that you may have with Command Core at no charge. Any RISE products delivered after the release of Command Core will have Command Core provided in the camera itself. So I'll go through now and show you some of the things that I've been talking about on a real camera. This is the Command Core interface that we're looking at. I have it set up for the Action Engine Wizard. As you can see, we actually have video in the image. It's live. I'm tilting it right now just to show you that it's a live video. So to program the Action Engine, you simply click on the Action Engine menu item, click Action Engine Wizard, and then it's going to take us through a number of steps to actually implement an action. So let's just say I want to have the trigger as my digital input. I go to the next screen. I can give that trigger a name. My trigger. That's just so that you understand what it's about, and then you can define which input trigger, which digital input you want to use for this trigger. Go to the next screen. This is what I want that to cause. Let's just say I want to send an email, and I will go next. And at this point, I need to set up my email. So at this point, if I haven't already done it, then I would have to go in here, and I don't have an email server at this point that I can use, but let's just talk about that guy. So at this point, I'm validating the email server settings, and it went through. So I'm going to be sending an email to CoStar. Other than I've got to go back, and these are the prompts I'm telling you. I have to create an action name. Let's call it action. Oh, email recipient. Okay, so as I said, all of these prompts are guiding the user to do all the right things in order to create the, now I can go forward. So that's the wizard in action, as well as the user prompts to make sure that the user completes all actions properly. And then if I want, I can create another action. So that's how simple the, there again, we're just giving you an update of what's going on. So I'll go on to another item as that goes through. It's all linked up and ready to go. The OSD's got a on-screen display wizard. And again, the wizard allows you to select what type of OSD element that you want. I'll just do text. Go to the next item. I have to define my message. Type something in, that's the text message I'm going to display. What size do I want the OSD? I'll just stick with the default 70. Define what color I want. I'll say I want green. Background, I'll have a black background around the OSD, and I want to put it in the upper right. And then when it's finished, I don't want to create another, and as you'll notice, there is the text that I just described. So at this moment, I've completed the introduction to RISE, and we will open it up for questions.